All right, y'all. So look, let's talk about this because this is one of those things where I didn't actually like. I provided the full video, which I'm gonna provide a card to where you can watch. It'll be right there where you can watch the full stream, like unedited, unfiltered. The full conversation is like 2 hours long. It's up on my channel. But I never promoted it. I didn't really push it out there. It's like, hey, here's this thing. Here's this thing. You want to watch it? Cool. If you don't want to watch it, that's fine. You know. But I just wanted to put the full thing out there. And if people were into it, they were into it. If they weren't, they weren't. And typically the people here on my channel, they're not here for that. So again, so Fanatic in this video is going through a situation that also involved me. And it involved a couple other creators, and he basically explains why he's not on Twitch panels anymore. And I'm only here to provide context. That's it. I'm just here to provide context because having knowing both people on both sides, I believe I'm able to kind of like thread that needle a little bit better than this. Um, that's it. That's it. That's all. Um, Again, you don't have to agree with me. Just straight up. You don't have to agree with me. You know what I'm saying? Because you can go watch that video that I linked and you can watch it for yourself. You can watch the whole thing unfold and you ain't gotta question nothing. Because at the end of the day, that's what I would prefer that people do is watch the whole thing and come to their own opinion. But I do feel because I've already watched this video. I feel like there was there's a lot of, again, it's a just under 10-minute video. So of course context was omitted. But it didn't it wasn't, I don't think it was fair to any of the parties involved, as far as like how the situation went. Um and I'm just here to provide that extra context. That's all.
I've been doing content for quite a bit, and I typically try to avoid drama because I just don't feel like it's very edifying. In this particular situation, I kind of wanted to explain why I started dealing with some folks that I used to kind of interact with a bit. So it starts out, I was on one of primecayes panels, and after I was on the panel, there's a girl in there who was trying to be rude and interrupt me and be, I was doing what I do on panels, finishing my point. It's no hassle, but all I'm saying, they're gonna get a. I'm just trying to make the appeal. Like, you don't know how to talk to women. It's like, nah, it's not. I don't know how to talk to women. I just don't let anybody talk over me. And you're not going to use the appeal because you have ovaries. And suddenly I'm going to give you different respect or some sort of.
So look, I'm gonna be on like not Prime. Fanatic is like that. So one Fanatic is like that. He's not gonna let anybody talk over him. He's gonna get his point across, point blank. Period. No matter what. He had always been like that. I don't know how many times he interacted with other people. I know as far as me, maybe somewhere on like on the highest end possible, maybe 30 streams. You know what I'm saying? On the lowest end possible, like 15. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think it was that many, but it was enough to where me and him had a good enough understanding of each other. And typically we found ourselves agreeing. It's just how we went about that point. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just what it is. Um, but I will say in this scenario, with that girl, okay, and which the woman streamer, her name is Mooncake, right? Um, the piece of context that's left out is it wasn't just him that was coming at her. It was also Joe Lewis coming at her. And the thing is, like, she's not a debater. Let's just straight up. Let's just call a spade a spade. She's not a debater, and I ain't a debater either, but I kind of know how to conduct myself a bit better in the space because I see what time people are on. You know what I'm saying? And because of her inexperience and because she's not a debater at all and doesn't understand like how that concept goes, um how he could come off how they like to go about getting points across um could come off quite abrasive. He is truthful here. He didn't cuss her out. Like I rewatched the stream, he didn't cuss her out. He didn't. He didn't. He straight up didn't. That's just a fact. He didn't. Anyway, I'm gonna let this thing continue.
Parental treatment than I give everybody else. Nah. He ain't lying. Respect me. Shut up while I'm talking, and I'm gonna shut up while you talking. Afterwards, she said she wouldn't go on the panels anymore. Long story short, it comes back to me eventually. My boy Dream, he messages me and he tells me, she says that she's not going to the channel anymore because you were cursing at her. What? And I was like, what the freak? What are you talking about? And so I'm like, hey, did she say this in writing or was this like something she just said to you verbally? I figured maybe he might have been misconstruing or misunderstanding. He's like, nah, like she typed it. Dear Santa, you are a bitch ass. Like, give me the screenshot. So he sent me the Discord. I went over there. I like joined the Discord because it's a public Discord. I found the Discord and he was sitting here lying. So I'm telling Prime, like, because it was on Prime's channel. Hey, she's lying on me. I never cursed at her. For you to come into the Twitch.
Okay, so hold on. So this guy here is Razor. All right, you can see me down there in the bottom left or whatever, right? Behind Fanatic here or whatever. Now, here's the kicker, right? She's in her Discord, right? With just her people, her fans or whatever. Like, yes, the link is public. However, she's not a big streamer. Like, people don't know who the fuck she is, right? And there's a presumption that Mooncake thought that Dream was a friend. You know what I'm saying? A party that was down for her and her cause. So therefore, she said and talked a bit more loosely than she would if she had known that, hey, you know what I'm saying, this is gonna get sent back to Fanatic, because she knew Fanatic wasn't coming in her Discord. He wasn't joining her Discord channel. And before that day, he had never been in there, unless he wants to correct me if I'm wrong. If he was in there for a brief minute, then he dipped out because he was like, this ain't for me. That could have happened too, but he wasn't in there long or whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it was. And there's no problem with that. The thing is, though, is that when Dream came in there, and again, this is just me and my own personal feelings. We already knew what drama had already went on, because the guys, we have a side chat. The boys, we have a side chat. And it was already talked about in there. One of the guys brought it up. And then Dream goes, "Oh, really? I'm gonna ask her." And immediately when I seen that, I'm like, "Hey, man," I'm like, why would you do that? Like, why would you ask her? And then I'm like, well, fine. If he wants to get the actual, like, get it from the cow's mouth, you know what I'm saying, as people like to say, or the horse's mouth, excuse me, that's how the saying goes. Get it from the horse's mouth himself, that's fine. I'm cool with that. But what I don't like to see is you get the information and then you go run and tell that. You know what I'm saying? Fanatic wasn't hunting out this information. He didn't give a fuck. He didn't give a fuck. And again, this is her server. And she's assuming because you're in her server, you're a friendly party. So therefore, she's just talking how she wants to talk. You know what I'm saying? She's assuming that he's never going to join because they're not cool. Therefore, like, he would never see the message under normal circumstances. Like, there was no way within a week of him he was going to join within a week, right? And then scroll all the way up and go through all the messages to find that particular message in the general chat where they went back and forth or whatever, where he asked her that. Because as soon as I seen it, I wanted to say something, but I just kind of just let it go, like I said, because I was like, I don't think this is conducive to anything. I don't think asking this question when we already went over it in the side chat. In the side chat, we already had the discussion, so he knew what he was asking. You know what I'm saying? He knew what he was asking. And he knew what he was getting himself into. So I think there's a bit of a setup there, because you are perceived as a friendly party. She's not thinking you are an enemy, or she doesn't know the nature of your friendship. Like, but it's a different scenario if it was me, right? Right? If it was me and you're asking me that, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna know that I'm like, wait, Dream and Fanatic are cool. Let me say this in a way to where I know this isn't gonna get screenshotted and like sent back. You know what I'm saying? Because I know y'all are a bit more cool than usual. You know what I'm saying? Than everybody else. Y'all are a bit more cool. Y'all kind of really fuck with each other. And that's my piece. That's my piece there on that. Anyway, I'm gonna let Fanatic continue. Again, I'm only here to provide context.
And say, I got rid of mooncake. Basically doing that, not the exact words you used. I know. Don't you dare be semantic to me, little bitch.
You were lying. I did not brag that I got rid of her. What I did was what I specifically said was, and you can shut up while I finish my point, like I did for you. Okay, thank you. What I did was I said, she's lying. I did not curse at her. She said that I got rid of her by cursing at her, and I did not because I don't curse. So she's lying.
But it's fine. Like she don't gotta not come to the space because I'm gonna be here. She can have a space. Like I don't come that often anyway. As long as she want to be
But
here,
it's
she
true.
can be there. Like I'm not trying to take priority over you. Have the space. Some other folks will get into it over some nonsense. Eventually, I'll confront her in her own chat.
I think it's absurd to ask a person to send you a screenshot of a private conversation and to try to make that the equivalent of him sending me a screenshot of a public discourse conversation on a public forum. If you have a private Discord and it was in a private channel, then he would be doing something unfair to you because he'd be sending something that you obviously didn't intend for public consumption. His and my conversation.
So again, this is where I'm gonna stop him here. She did not think Dream was gonna go, oh, this is what you have to say about Manette. I'm gonna send it back to him. That's not what she was thinking. And most people would never think that. They wouldn't think that at all. They straight up wouldn't think it. They wouldn't think it. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're just somebody that if you thought like this person was cool with you because they're in your server and you thought they fucked with you, you would not think the person you cool with is gonna go run back and tell the person that you have a disagreement with, that you have like you feel a way about what you just said. Like that's crazy. Like, and all this happened in like less than 24. You know what I'm saying? It was like a quick, maybe I'm gassing. Maybe it was 72. You know what I'm saying? Anywhere from 24 to 72 hours. Like it was like an immediate turnaround. Like I was like, he just had this conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where I was at with it. But anyway, again, like I'm just providing context. Like she did not. There was a presumed assumption that she had that Dream was a friendly party, and he wasn't. You know what I'm saying? She didn't know he was gonna run and tell you because if she knew that, she wouldn't have told him that. That's where the disconnect lies.
A private conversation, obviously not intended for public consumption. So then to try to imply that he should be sending that as if he's doing something cowardly by not betraying a private conversation and posting it to someone else, I think is a little bit disingenuous. Do you agree?
Yes, in this case, because what Dream should have done is that he should have came to me first and said, hey, this is an issue. I really think maybe we could reconcile this with Joe and Fanatic. I'm going to let him know, blah, blah, blah. And honestly, I would have said, okay, because the messages aren't even bad. So yeah, I am curious to see how Dream may have worded it, how he may have explained it, or if something else was said. Yeah, I do think it's equivalent to see what was sent. Because he didn't have my permission to reconcile anything.
Sure, exactly. So hold on. Permission to reconcile is not the same thing as permission to relay something from a public conversation. And I get that you don't see it. So let me explain to you why these things are why.
Okay, so this is where I'm gonna stop him again. Why she said permission to reconcile is because, again, clearly she assumed, like I'm saying, she clearly assumed this was not going to Fanatic. This was not going to Joe Lewis. She assumed that off rip. This wasn't going there. Dream the friendly party. I can just tell him, hey, here's what I felt because you weren't there that day and you weren't around. You didn't know what was going on. So she just kind of here's what I feel, blah, 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 blah. That's it. That's it. When you Oh my god. Oh my god. It's just so fucking funny to me. Like, you know that she didn't think you were gonna hear what she said. People say different things when they know different contexts of like how the conversation is gonna go. How different if you know what you're saying is being recorded, you talk differently. Just straight up. Everybody does it. Why? Because everybody has something to lose. Everybody has something to lose in some degree, some way, shape, form, or fashion. Everybody knows they have something to lose, and they want to protect their interests. You know what I'm saying? And for her interest was her peace and her not wanting to speak to you again. You know what I'm saying? And she had already did that by just straight up disconnecting herself. So if she's saying, I'm not coming on there because I don't want to run into these two people again, I think that's fair. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. It's like, yo, you're hanging out with your friends, right? You know what I'm saying? And it's a whole group, right? You know what I'm saying? Because at the beginning of the day, like everybody was cool with each other. I'm not gonna say we were friends. Everybody was cool, and then all of a sudden, one person slaps the fucking shit out of you, and you like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to get into like no violent altercation. You know what I'm saying? But I do not like what the fuck just happened. I'm just not gonna come anymore, right? If that person's there, I'm just not showing up. I don't think that's a stretch. I don't think that's much. Because this ain't the first time that she's had an issue with either them or anybody else that was coming a bit more like direct towards her. So when you have this type of thing happen, I don't think for her case, you know what I'm saying, seeing that this is not her first occurrence. At the second time, you're like, well, this is not going to happen to me a third time. So I'm going to completely remove myself. That's a smart decision to make. That's not unreasonable. Anyway, I'm gonna back up a little bit and I'm gonna let him finish.
Permission to reconcile is not the same thing as permission to relay something from a public conversation. And I get that you don't see it, so let me explain to you why these things are wildly different. When you have a private conversation between two people, there is an assumption that the conversation will be private, right? So then because of that assumption, for him to share that conversation, any portions of the conversation he had with me, would be a violation of that expectation. Whereas when something is discussed in a public forum, it is expected that any person who wants to be privy to that information can be so. So I mean, can be privy. So I think that there's a clear difference between the expectations of the parties who are participating in that conversation. Do you disagree with that?
Yeah, I still disagree. I understand.
So here's in the moment what she probably can't say, right? Is that because of how she felt about you in that moment, she knows as soon as you joined, and because of the conversations that they were having previously, because notice him joining was like a matter of fact. Yeah. Him joining was a whole week after the incident occurred. Because this happened on All Black Everything like a Thursday prior. And so like we're a week later, and you know what I'm saying? Like this is you know what I'm saying, Dream's asking, like, you know what I'm saying, about what happened, and it was way back when. So when you when you have this situation, right, and you have somebody that, oh, I don't like this person, right, and you've explained to your Discord and your mods and all this other people, right, if the person gets added, you're going to assume one, none of these people that are involved in here are number one going to add this person, because I've already expressed I have a strong disdain for this person. So anybody that's your fan, this is like having Drake fans be in a Discord with Drake and they add Pusha T and Kendrick. Drake would be like, what the fuck? Why would you add Pusha T and Kendrick to this fucking Discord? I don't fuck with them niggas. It'd be the same shit. The exact same shit. But no Drake fan would do that. And that's what she expected of anybody in her Discord. She thought they were fans of her. You know what I'm saying? So she thought they would not do that. So therefore, she got put in a situation, and she didn't want to bag down. So therefore, she kind of got like, y'all came in there and y'all like, oh, let's have this conversation. Let's have this conversation. So she kind of got like forced into the conversation because she didn't want to. She's not trying to backpedal and back out and bitch out. You know what I'm saying? But in front of her peoples, But at the same time, she was like, hey, she kind of wants to stand 10 toes on her own position. Which again, if you're somebody that's, you feel like you're in defense mode, you might not be adequately prepared for it, especially when it hits you out of left field, which this did. Oh shoot. Went full screen again.
Of course, in a private conversation, it's basically like an agreement between two people, right? We wouldn't go out and just like share that. But in this case, he was using that screenshot to try and reconcile that something that he had no business trying to reconcile because he
Which is true.
Permission from you.
No. That's a different conversation. What you're talking about is whether or not he should be expected. What you're talking about is whether or not he should be expected to reconcile. That's a different conversation.
Okay, so I exited the video because, as you can see, they didn't really have no smoke. But the key takeaway from that conversation is there's a very obvious difference between someone showing me a public conversation from a public Discord, me going and telling me about that, me going and finding that information for myself. There's a difference between that and trying to pressure someone to give a private conversation and reveal that. The expectation that there would be privacy is inherent in a private conversation. So it's
freaking app. Listen, I will agree with him here. There is a difference between those two things. But again, when you add context to it and you put it in the front of, this is my Discord, these are my people. I've already expressed last week, that I don't like this person or that other person. I would hope and pray you don't add that person to here. Like it would, it wouldn't happen under normal circumstances. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, anyway, I already gave the example. Let's keep going.
And reveal that. The expectation that there would be privacy is inherent in a private conversation. So it's a betrayal to do that. Any mature person can see that. And they could see it too, which is why they were trying to do everything they could to obfuscate. They knew better.
We've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas.
Well, during that altercation, there was a dude who used to be on primecayes channel, who I used to respect, actually, a person named Smooth. In that conversation.
Okay. So first of all, it's not that I used to. I just show up when I can or whatever. That's just what it boils down to. I show up when I can. I used to show up like every Thursday, you know what I'm saying? Because I really had time. But then I stopped having time because obviously, like, my channel's growing. I'm working more. I became the lead, you know what I'm saying, in my particular section. And I just didn't have the time like that. I was too stressed out. And I didn't feel like being stressed out and then turn around and getting involved in a panel and being stressed out trying to conversate was good for my mental or physical health. Like, I just did not think that was a good thing. Needless to say, that's what that was. All right, that's what that was. And again, whether or not, you know what I'm saying, he had respect for me or not, you know what I'm saying, that's neither here nor there. Like I told y'all, we've maybe been on max 30 panels together, you know what I'm saying? So it's not a big deal to me. I don't know him in person. I don't know Dream in person. Like, I've never met Prime. I've never met Bam that he's gonna reference. I've never met Razor. I've never met Mooncake. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these people, I've never actually physically met these people. So my level of connection with you is I treat you like I'm gaming and you're my gamer friend on a particular game. Like, yeah, it's unfortunate when I move on to the next Call of Duty that you're not my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how it used to be back in the day. Like, when you were in Modern Warfare 2, you know what I'm saying? And you and somebody was like really fooling with each other and y'all were always running lobbies, blah, 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 blah. And then you move on to Modern Warfare 3 and it's like, oh shoot, I gotta add this person again. And you can't find them, or y'all schedule changes and different things of that nature. Life happens and you kind of just lose touch with them. I kind of feel the same way about it. It's like, it's that kind of level of connection. Like, it's nothing more than a like a gaming like kind of ad. Like, it's not the same.
Dude, repeatedly, like, while they were like, trying to talk trash to Dream, but like, oh, you sassy, it's his feminine behavior. why were you snitching? All these kinds of things, and Smooth was like taking part in it as well.
I did say something in jest. I said it in jest. I said that is a bit catty. I was joking. I didn't realize how serious everyone was. So
yeah, you were dogpiling on me, of course. I was saying, bro, don't fuel.
Oh,
and then you kept going, and you sent a voice message after
I had already said my message, and then I was like, well, if I'm already here, I'm just gonna go ahead and say my last out loud.
I go to confront Smooth about it.
So here's my problem with this, right? Here's my problem with this. I was not talking to Fanatiq whatsoever. Fanatiq is a grown ass fucking man. I'm a grown ass fucking man. I'm 33 years old. Fanatiq is older than me. He's probably like 38 plus. He's 38 plus. Dream is younger than me, right? He's younger than me. He's maybe about like 26, 27 or below. You know what I'm saying? But not too low, because he's graduated from Morehouse, whatever. Smart dude. He's a fucking smart dude. Or whatever. He's like 23, 24, some shit like that. So 24 to 27, whatever the fuck. Anyway, my whole thing was, you know what I'm saying, when I jumped in there and I said what I said, was because like I personally, and I say it again. I'm gonna link that video. I'm gonna link that video in the description to do y'all one better, so y'all ain't gotta go back and try and find the fucking card. I don't feel like, you know what I'm saying, and I'm gonna stand 10 toes on it. Like, I don't feel like any man should do what just happened. Like, I don't think that's manly behavior to go, you know, even though that's your boy, right? If the assumption, if a woman that you're cool with, like, she's assuming y'all are cool, right? That you go run and tell your boy, oh, she said this about you, right? You know this already, because we already hashed out the conversation. So it's like you went in there like fishing for something in a way, you know? So it's, I don't agree with how that went down. So thus I just said it was catty. You know what I'm saying? I said that. You know what I'm saying? And initially, like, I didn't think it was as serious as it was. So yeah, it was in jest, but like, it's not like I'd like fully walk away from my statement though. Like, I wouldn't do that. Like, as a grown ass man, like, I just don't think, or even as a man in general, I don't think that's my place to be involved in a situation that does not involve me. If you as a man or woman, got beef with somebody else, it ain't got shit to do with me. Like, I'm not being brought up at fucking all. I'm not getting involved in it, because as I told them in the stream, it's because everybody I know that got involved in a situation like that are dead or injured permanently from it. That's just it. That's just it. So that's how I was raised. And that's what I said in the chat before I even went to make this video. In our guy side chat, I said, I'm like, yo, we all have different lived experiences. Therefore, what we think is cool is different. I'm used to people dying behind that type of behavior. So I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. If you end up telling me, like, yo, like, I could have a coworker coming to me like, yo, man, I hate that bitch. And they'll be like, who? And I'll be like, who? And they'll tell me everything they want to tell me about that person. The other person, I can be cool with them. I will never tell them that so-and-so told me that they don't fuck with you, because I don't want to create a situation between them. I don't want to be at the crux of that. I don't want to be in the middle of that. That's what you do when you insert yourself in a situation that these two people are like, I don't like you. I don't really fool with you either. Right? They both walked away from each other. The situation was dead. We were good for a whole fucking week. I thought it was done. I thought it was over. And then boom, you reinsert yourself and you give life to this situation. And now you've inserted yourself. Now I'm in there making jokes, making jest of the situation. And then boom, now I'm in a situation, and it all stems from like other people just, and it snowballs. And like, now you got all these people involved. Now you got this whole panel, as you've seen, of random individuals that don't have nothing to do with it, which is a whole nother thing that I don't like, is that if you wanted to have this conversation with me or whatever, right? Somebody was still streaming. It was live, right? If you wanted to have this conversation with me, that's a private conversation to have. Like, we can hash it out as men, and the conversation goes a lot differently than, oh, I'm gonna put it up on public. But as you can see in that video, Dream had said, you know what I'm saying? Well, I feel like you came at me in public, so thus I feel like I had to, you know what I'm saying, do this in public. But I'm like, it wasn't public. Again, that's her server. If those people are not in her server, they do not know. Therefore, it's not public. It's like, I don't know. It's like private public. You know what I'm saying? It's like a I don't know, an open secret. You know, it's if you're in the inner circle, you know about it. But if you don't live there, you don't. It's like, I'll put it like this, right? If somebody writes an offensive message on a statue in Spain, right? I don't know that offensive message exists because I don't live in that city, right? I don't live in that city or that country, right? To get it out to the public, you have to take a picture of it and then put it in a public forum. You have to escalate the issue. You have to move it somewhere else where it can have more light to it. But if that message, and then let's say you move it out there and I get offended, right? Boom, I'm offended. But realistically, I would never have been offended by that offensive message on that statue if it was never posted on the public forum. Because again, it was just a local issue. You took a local issue and you made it something more than what it was. That's how I feel about it. Anyway, I'm gonna back up a little bit. I'm gonna let him finish talking about me because that is what it is. I had already said my message, and then I was like, well, if I'm already here, I'm just gonna die and say my last piece out loud.
I go to confront Smooth about it. Like, bro, why are you doing that? Like, you told me this information because that's my friend. Like, what? So in that conversation, it gets a little off the rails. And then when we call you out on how that principle is invalid and not sustainable, you didn't even ask me. As you probably noticed, you go back a couple years, all of my content was a lot more.
So okay, so look. Here's the thing. That went off the rails, right? But he mentions that principle. This is the only reason I made this video is because that principle, again, you go down the video in the comments, you can watch it for yourself. That principle in which I stated is the same shit I'm saying right now. And then that's the thing, and that's the gist of, if you say something to somebody that you think is your friend, and then they relay that information to somebody else, you're now looking at that person fucking funny because you're like, yo, like it's like if you have a mutual, right? If you have a mutual, like imagine y'all are adults, y'all are functioning people in society. You have a mutual friend with somebody fucking else, right? You assume that person has enough loyalty to you to where they don't go tell that other person what you said, and then they can still hang out with the other motherfucker. And this is like, again, I'm equated to Drake and Kendrick. Their mutual friend is J. Cole. J. Cole has worked with both of them. He's like really cool with both of them, right? He's really cool with both of them. If J. Cole turned around and tells Kendrick something that Drake said, J. Cole is in the wrong. He's foul. Why? Because he told it to him. He was talking to him about it. Whether it was said in a public square or it was said like on whatever it is, like it doesn't matter because the other person wouldn't have known the information unless you relate it. That is the only principle that fucking matters. How would this person get this information unless you relate it? And it goes, oh, this person would have to join in this scenario. It's, oh, Kendrick would have to join Drake's server. But guess what? He didn't till you told him. Therefore, he had no interest and wasn't even looking for this. Fanatic's life was fine. He would not be looking this up. I think he got a family. Like, this is a family man. Like, he's not really concerned about this shit. Like, really? He's not. So you had to bring it to him. And that's where the age gap comes into play. And that's why I said everything that I said, because I just thought it was completely disingenuous. I'm like, nobody would do that in the real world. Because why? Especially if all this was between men, it wouldn't go down like this. You want to know why? Because men understand that men have an inherent propensity for violence towards one another. Men are more likely to actually get violent with one another. Therefore, you know what I'm saying? Like, they know, like, oh, there's going to be consequences and repercussions behind this said action. Versus when you're dealing with men and women, the man ain't finna go beat that woman's ass. He's not gonna do it. Like, no sensible man is. You know what I'm saying? And the woman's not gonna attack the guy because she don't want to get hit by the guy. So you know where the line is for reasonable people. Therefore, it wouldn't happen. Anyway, I'm gonna back up a little bit. I'm gonna let him talk. And like I said, this is a bad cut. This is a bad cut because it doesn't actually, it just shows us yelling at each other, but it doesn't actually provide, it doesn't actually show when we were actually having the context of the conversation.
As you'll probably notice, you go back a couple years, all of my content was a lot more fiery, like yelling and screaming and stuff. It was panels, it's like heated debates.
She was talking about the influence of white people over hip hop music in the past. Everyone's here. You guys were having a trans conversation earlier. I recognize, even though I got plenty of opinions on the subject, I recognize it's not my freaking place while you guys are having this topic. So I shut the hell up and back the hell up.
And I stopped doing that because I don't like it. I didn't like it then, and I don't like it now. But when you get into panels, you have to, because everyone wants to talk over you. Everyone wants to obfuscate. I've showed, I mean, some of you guys have probably seen, I did this thing called Idiot Panel Bingo, where I just collected all the different nonsense that happens in panels.
Hold on, Razor, stop. You're not involved in it. No, Razor, stop.
So look again. This is why this should not have happened in this particular forum with all these additional bodies. Because one, this shit ain't got nothing to do with Prime. This ain't got nothing to do with Razor. This ain't got nothing to do with Debate Queen. This ain't got nothing to do with Bam. This ain't got nothing to do with Don Shampoo. This ain't got nothing to do with, what the fuck is his name? I can't even see his name. But anyway, the dude in the right middle, like, you know what I'm saying, on the right in the middle row, like, it ain't got nothing to do with him either. It ain't got nothing to do with none of them. It's only between me, Dream, and Fanatic. If they wanted to have that conversation with me, that's fucking fine. But then again, there's no real reason I should be talking to fucking Fanatic. There's no reason. I should never be I shouldn't have been talking to him whatsoever. The issue was Dream felt a way that I said what I said. Cool. Come at me as a fucking man and then tell me what your fucking issue is with me. That's it. It could have been hashed out in 10 fucking minutes. It could have been hashed out in 10 fucking minutes. Rather than, oh, I gotta go get my big bro to come in here and help me talk to you or whatever. And instead of actually talking to me like a normal human being, they wanted to do this like debate panel ass thing. And again, I'm going to behoove of you all to go down to the link and watch it. It is a completely unfiltered fucking video. No bullshit, no games, no gimmicks. You get to see it start to finish.
Let me talk. The reason why I don't like them in the first place, except for mine, because I like moderated so heavily to ensure that none of that nonsense happens. So that stuff is happening. So this isn't the typical content, but I still feel like it needs to be shared.
Also to add, that what you just watched was not a debate panel. We're not on panel anymore. We're in a separate Discord chat with all these people. Like, we're off stream, right? It's not a separate Discord chat. it's like the same one, but like we're off stage now. Nobody's streaming on Prime's thing because this is Prime's thing. They jumped in there at the end, and instead of it being on his open panel, thank fucking God, because that would have been even more weird. And I probably would have spazzed. I probably would have spazzed out. Like I probably would have spazzed. But needless to say, like it was in this it's in this room that's private, but there's a bunch of individuals here that it has nothing to fucking do with. Nothing. And like Razor said earlier, they were in the chat kind of talking crazy about this whole situation. Oh, yes, Smooth. Like at the end of the panel, it's like they typed in chat, yes, Smooth, we need to talk to you after. And I'm like, for fucking what? Like, this is me. For fucking what? For fucking what? Because at the end of the day, I still feel the same way I felt about the situation to begin with. It wouldn't exist if niggas didn't get involved in shit that had nothing to fucking do with them. That's the truth of the matter. That's it. If I gotta go pull Discord fucking receipts to fucking prove this shit, I fucking will. It's gonna be a pain in the fucking ass, but I fucking will do it. I will scroll and scroll and scroll till I get to that fucking day. Because to be honest, it's worth it. It would be fucking worth it if people want to really try and cap like that. Because you can see when all this shit occurred. The only thing that's missing is Prime's Discord, Prime's Twitch chat logs. That's the only thing that's actually missing from all of this as far as context wise. But Queens has like most of the actual conversation between us. And then I think maybe later. There's actually a I don't know if Prime has his Twitch chat on stream, but this stream is actually on his channel as well. I'd have to go find it, but it does exist in full, and you can see the chat.
At the end of it, me and Smooth I just stopped interacting. I already don't interact with Bam, and it's not because I hate Bam.
And again, we ain't even interact that much to begin with. Like we ain't even interact that much to begin with. Like we ain't interact enough to where I felt like I had respect or disrespect towards him. I was just like, okay, he's an intelligent dude. You know what I'm saying? And I feel the same way about Dream. Like Dream's a fairly intelligent dude. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that way about Bam. I'm like, Bam's a fairly intelligent dude. He's gonna mention him further. You know what I'm saying? And there's a couple cats that when we're in the chat with each other, like I feel like they're fairly intelligent dudes. Like I know I'm not gonna agree with you every fucking day. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna disagree on shit. That's just a part of fucking life. We're opinionated individuals. We talk on fucking panels. That's what the fuck that is. However, I just find it. I didn't give a fuck. Like if after that day, and I think I spent a good like 3-4 months without like coming back on the panels. Like it's been a good 3-4 months without coming back on the panels. Like I just thought it was fucking unnecessary. I'm not doing it. I'm not sitting in that space. Like I'm not doing it. Like whether Fanatic was there or not, I'm not doing it. Because I'm like, if we're gonna be disingenuous, if we're gonna lie, if we're not gonna like provide like adequate context and actually give the people what they actually need, you know what I'm saying? So they can formulate a real fucking opinion. What the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we really doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? We seem to like self-proclaim like, oh, we're these like fact chasers and these truth tellers, but we're not really about it when it comes down to it, because we want to be right. Like what? Like if the truth of this situation was, hey, look, I was wrong. I'm coming on here and I'm telling y'all I was fucking wrong. I have no problem fucking doing it. Like y'all have seen on my fucking channel, like if I get a story wrong, I'll straight up say, I'll make a video like and be like, yo, I got it wrong. I got it wrong. I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? If I find out, like I find out, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I was wrong. Like, hey, I put out this video about this, XYZ. Like, I was wrong.
I just feel like he's a disingenuous person. I feel like he says things that
let me back up.
Interact with Bam, and it's not because I hate Bam. I just feel like he's a disingenuous person. I feel like he says things that, like in a debate, he'll say something that he doesn't believe just because he wants to win or because he doesn't have to admit. So my typical debate style is to walk you into a corner until you have to admit I'm right.
And if that's the case, this must be your wallet.
That makes sense to me.
Then take it.
It's not my wallet. Because I am right. His thing is, in a moment, he doesn't mind just lying and just saying, nope, I don't agree with that. And then just for the point of debate, like coming up with an argument off the top of his head that doesn't make sense and then like really kind of just try to dance around it. It's effective because of the fact that he never has to own a position. It's ineffective when you show how inconsistent it is, but then that takes actually engaging with them, which after enduring that for enough times, I decided, it's just not ever worth it to do. Like, what do I get at the end of the day? He'll finally just try to like start talking around the other thing, right? Or when you finally get into a actual corner, he'll just outright lie. It's like, yeah, there's no point. So I don't really have a lot of respect for Bam. Again, I don't hate the dude. I don't know him as a person. I just realized that it's pointless to interact with him. Our styles are incompatible. Again, don't trip. I'm not going to become a drama streamer. That's not my goal. I just felt like I wanted to share this. Why I don't do a lot of panels.
All right, cool beans. And that, God damn it, I'm gonna learn how to work YouTube one day. Anyway, that's how I feel. All of this is how I feel. Again, the stream is in the description. You can watch the whole 1 hour and 52 minutes from start to unfiltered finish yourself. And you can come up with your own conclusion. If you disagree with me, that's fine. Again, everybody's lived experience is different. So, I mean, I respect their point of view, but I will never fucking agree with it. Because again, like I said, third parties that got involved in situations that had nothing to do with them, they died along with whatever party was losing. Straight up. That's how I was brought up. That's how I seen things. You know what I'm saying? And if they didn't die, they was hurt behind it. You know what I'm saying? Whether shot, stabbed, beat up, whatever. So I learned very quickly in my life to mind my own fucking business. My older cousins, that's what type of time they was on. They was telling me, look, bro, you know what I'm saying? You have an opportunity to be better than we was. Like, don't get involved in that dumb shit. Don't get involved in people's business. You know what I'm saying? Stick to yourself. Stick to your schoolwork. Stick to your studies. When you get older, stick to your job. You know what I'm saying? You get you a girl, stick to your girl. That's it. Just stick to your people. You know what I'm saying? You got friends, stick to your boy. Like they that's what they taught me loyalty in that regard. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's my time. Hopefully y'all have a good one. Fuck, this was long. Anyway, subscribe if you liked it. I'm out.